This is the 21st season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. Exciting week back in the studio following the Master Angler Quest with Matt Steffen. I'm officially now completely obsessed with yellow perch. Like, we went out in Wisconsin, caught my personal best yellow perch, 14 and a half inch, 1 pound, 13 ounce yellow perch. And then I got some messages from other people. And now I think this is Bass Talk Live, and I think I'm on the panfish quest. I've got the red ear, which I've got Rojas lined up to go knock that out on Havasu, and then the bluegill. And I was talking with Matt Steffen because we knocked out the crappie last year for the Master Angler Chevron. I want to have the Master Angler crappie, yellow perch, bluegill, and red ear, the panfish slam. But if you think bass fishermen are secretive when it comes to giving up the juice, bluegill anglers, 10 times that. I had a 20-minute conversation with Matt Steffen. He's like, dude, I've got good buddies. And they're like, yeah, I know where to catch a Master Angler bluegill, but I'm not telling you. Everyone around here, like, the bluegill game is the most secretive, highly sought after game that I'm trying to dive into. It's the truth. I say that to say, in the next couple of weeks here, we'll be kicking off CTL Crappie Talk Live. Zeke Anderson, big in the crappie game, is going to be we're going to have a meeting on Thursday, and then working with One Standard, the new crappie company that's out. They got all sorts of cool stuff going on there where you can go to onestandard.com and like submit your pictures and things like that to win free stuff, but also working with Jeremy Lawyer, some of the guys who really crappie fish. Along that lines, one of the best crappie lakes in the world is Lake Guntersville, and I will be going to Lake Guntersville this winter to film some CTL content. But there's also some other stuff that was going on at Lake Guntersville, and that was the Unified Pros Ultimate Angler World Championship. Tucker Smith, I mean, the more zeros you put in the tournament, the more Tucker Smith is going to beat you by. That's pretty much what it comes down to. We saw him win the million plus, there's a 500,000, and then they've got the boat and the truck. I mean, the kid's 24 years old and he's won like 600,000 in that. He wins 510,000 in this one, but some really familiar names there, some locals at the top, but a big comeback. And we've got two guys on from Lake Guntersville right now, Randy and Laker Howell. Randy Howell, third place finish in that. What was that? 80 grand, 70 grand, Randy?
80 grand for third place, man. I feel like I won a big tournament. I'm as excited as Tucker almost.
Yeah, that was cool. It took and congratulations. We got Laker Howell, Randy Howell. Figured we'd have the father-son on. We just had Laker on after he won at Leech, and then he backed that up with 2 wins in 3 BASS events, the latest being the Bassmaster EQ, almost $60,000 on Wheeler Lake in Alabama. Then Randy knocks out 80K, and I'm like, well, we'll just get the whole Howell family on here to talk about it. But that had to get the blood pumping, Randy, to know that, I mean, you probably knew that that the win was out of reach, but man, that was some freaking money for second, third, fourth, fifth.
Man, it sure was. I was just so excited to be in that event and know we had such a great opportunity. And then my excitement kind of turned a little bit disappointed because I had had almost 21 the first day, but then I only had 16 pounds the second day. We had the Big Bass Tour going on, so it was like 1,200 boats in that or something crazy. And then our tournament had 189 or something like that in it. So 16 pounds was not great, dropped me like 29th place. So I knew I had to have 20 plus to even, I was trying to get in that top 10 to get 25,000 because 10th was 25 grand. That's what my goal that day was to do. And then all of a sudden I jump around and land on a fresh school of big ones, man. And I caught, 24 and a half pounds almost, had a 7.3. All on that Livingston walking ball, same bait. Laker won previous week at Wheeler on, and top water fish are just big fish this time of year, and that's what got me through. And other guys didn't catch them, and I passed everybody. And the cool, and even more cool is just 1 ounce I was 1 ounce above fourth, and 1 ounce, 2 ounces above fifth and sixth. I mean, we were stacked so tight, but I was on the good side of that and won 80 grand. So man, I was tickled to death.
We've won a lot of money on just a couple ounces here lately.
Yeah, 2
And top
ounces
water,
of
yeah.
beer.
Now,
Yeah.
remind me, Randy, have you ever had a big day 3 on Lake Guntersville that you won a lot of money because of?
Yeah. It had been like 11 years, so 2014, making that comeback in the classic, coming back from 11th with 29 pounds. And, it's funny. I had quite a few people. It was a big crowd at that weigh-in for the Ultimate Angler Championship that final day on Saturday at Goose Pond. I had quite a few guys coming up and people say, man, we watched you win the classic. We were on the bridge. We were on the Rip Rap that day. When this was awesome to see you come back like this at this event. And I really didn't realize that many people were really paying attention to it. But I think, like you say, all those zeros started getting people's attention pretty quick when they saw it.
Now you guys, and then we'll get into Lakers' big win. I didn't realize you guys did it. You did 150K basically on the same bait.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Hey, is that? I say this because it leads to another story. I've told this on the show before. Does that have the electronic bait fish sound in it where it goes?
Yeah, it doesn't
while you're
sound
working
like
it.
that. It don't sound like that, thankfully, because they would chase them away.
What does it sound like now? I made that noise because of the story. I made that noise because I've got a story for that. What does it sound like, Laker? Give me the walking boss noise.
They've actually, I can't do it. Because it's really crazy. They've actually got a university in Texas that did these huge studies
Texas State University.
Texas State University. So Texas State University did this huge study on what different aquatic life sounded like under the water when it was in distress, when it was just normal, whatever. So they bought all the distressed actual recordings. So like they had a crawfish underwater, right? So they moved the rock over and freak it out with a microphone in its face.
Yeah.
Like a hydro wave in the bait.
Yeah.
But these are actual. These aren't computer generated. These are actual recordings. So this.
What's it sound like, Randy?
Yeah.
Give me a Randy. You can try it.
Okay,
Give me a test.
This is the shad sound. It goes. And so it's an intense being chased. A shad in distress when it's being chased is going. I don't know what they're saying. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah,
that
was money.
All I know is they bite it. They hit it so hard. I had that 7-3 jump completely. I paused. I was working it over grass, holes in the grass, and I paused it and click, and all of a sudden that 7-pounder jump way up high and come down, and it was such a long cast. I said, "Oh my God!" I told my marshal, I said, "Was that a bass?" Because it looked like a big pike or muskie. You know how they jump out of the water up north down on something. And it just straight lined me on the braid, and then he jumped straight up again and shook his head. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a giant. That's what I need to get in the top 10 right there. So they love that sound when it pauses. That's why the electronic bait fish sound is a legit deal. And I'm big time on the hydro wave too. I have my hydro wave on delayed, 15-second delay and 30-second delay on top water schooling all day. And when I power pole down on these flats, they actually come up and start breaking all around my boat multiple times when it would come off of that delay. And I did that and watched it all 3 days happen. So I've done it for years. I believe in sound, and I watch, the slower the bait is, the jerk bait on the Livingston and the top water bait gives more time to draw and attract. It don't make them always bite because we'd all win all the tournaments. I wish it would, but at least gives some attraction and gives you a little more opportunity and chance to catch them.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I haven't had a hydro wave on the boat in a long time, but it's like,
yeah.
That's kind of that one. Okay, so I say that to say this. In 2012, I always say ill-fated World Series of Bass, the Dream Deal, where we took it was like Brandon Dickinson, James Biggs, Ryan Salzman was in that. I did it, a couple other people, but Livingston was brand new then. Like no one had heard of him, knew what it was. And we had the Livingston Lure Challenge where we had to fish on Grand with only Livingston lures. I say that to say this. They gave us these baits at the time. So I take it home. At the time, I'm single. I'm living in a loft above a liquor store. I mean, it's like open concept, black, red curtains, black leather. I mean, it was so dialed in. But I had no storage in it. Right? It was like a 900 square foot loft. So I had Rubbermaid tubs with all my baits in my closet.
Yeah.
So I get back from that deal, and for a month I hear, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what type of bug, insect. I tear everything apart, and it was that damn Livingston lure that was touching another lure. And for a month in my apartment, I thought I had like a bug infestation, and it was that lure that was croaking in my closet.
Yeah,
it took me like a month to figure it out.
Those old, so the first year, the first generation of them when they first came out, I started working with them in like the end of 2012, first of 2013, and that first sound was that croaker sound, and they would arc on another, and that was all the old stuff. It would arc if it touched another bait in your box or whatever. All that's been changed and way better now, but that is pretty funny because they would do it in the boat, and and you could hear it in the boat, and you'd wonder where that's coming from, and you'd have to finally get it and try to get it to stop so you wouldn't run your battery out.
Yeah. That was way off track. So you are in the garage on a house that's located in Spring Creek, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to pull up a video here and I'm going to see. I don't know if you remember when I did the
my glasses. Oh, my. See, I'm going to have to be able to see. I got my clicks right here so I can see this little phone.
You just won 80K. You can do the LASIK now.
No, you can't do that for reader stuff.
Oh, you can't?
No, I would do it if I could. I would have already done it.
Okay, I'm gonna share the system audio, and LAKER, I don't know if you have seen this LAKER or not, but this was a this was the Guntersville Effect, a 20-foot deep documentary that I did. Well, right before you had built the house, and I covered everybody who was at Guntersville, and this was when I was with you, and they were about to break ground on where you're sitting. You were about to break ground the following day, so here's just a little segment of it.
The line's out here, but they're gonna move it back a little further because they got it set a little too close to the road. We want to try to get as close to the water as possible back here. It sounds like a fairy tale, but I mean, right straight out there, I can see it. A quarter of a mile from right here is when I heard the voice that day leading me back here again, and I came back and caught the 6 1/4 pounder and threw back a 5 1/4 that I won the Classic by 1 pound. If I hadn't made that move, I wouldn't have won that day, and that's the amazing thing about it. And I'll be able to see that right out off my boathouse, right out there. So I mean, you couldn't script that any better, and that's kind of the way this whole story has been.
We'll just keep it rolling because this is cool. We talked about it a little bit.
This is Spring Creek and the Highway 431 bridge over here, and this is the bridge right as pre-spawn was coming around. Randy Howell made a conscious decision to come back here and fish that for the day. Whole entire bridge area was just packed with fans, packed with his family. Even his kids was out here.
Here's the bridge right here. Boom. Every time I cross it, I look up and I said, "Thank you, Jesus, man." Every time I see it.
Yeah.
I had so many great spectators here that day that a few of them would come down when it would be a lot of people. Sometimes guys would come down right on the corners, and other people would watch out for him. They'd say, "Hey man, come up here, he's catching fish." So they'd all back him off, casting across these corners, catching them, every cast. It was unbelievable how many fish. Probably over 100 bass that day I caught from 100 yards that way to 50 yards that way.
Anyway, there you go. I thought that was pretty cool, but starting that, like, you guys it's just crazy. Like, I wonder, I think we went to the plot of land where it was. So you're literally sitting right now, you and LAKER are sitting where I filmed that.
Yeah, that's right. We built the house first and the boathouse and all that. And I built this garage separately in 2020 when he kind of was getting into fishing and getting out of high school and getting into tournaments and had a boat, and we needed more space. So I built this garage. It's a 30 by 60 and turned into a really good man cave garage for 2 trucks and boats, or 4 boats you can get in here. So it's a cool place to be now.
All right, let's talk about your latest win. We had you on after Leech Lake, LAKER. I mean, you were literally talking about how you were out of money and how amazing Leech was. Quite frankly, it's got to be a roller coaster. I know that you want to be on the Elite Series with your dad. You win that. You go to the EQs. You had a great year. Then a very subpar Champlain to kick off the EQs after the 0.0. And then you come back and you win Wheeler. And I would imagine that tournament itself had to be a roller coaster. I didn't think there was a chance in hell anybody was going to catch Matt Adams after I saw what he had the first couple days and how good he is on Wheeler. I even talked to Matt Adams, and he was like, I didn't think there's any way in hell LAKER was going to catch me after the first 2 days that I had. And it was kind of a similar Leech Lake deal almost, to where you just went out, you took care of your business, and all of a sudden you're holding the trophy. Is that a fair assessment of how that went?
It was golly, let me just tell you. So number one, subpar doesn't even come close to how bad I did at Champlain. That was terrible. That was just pitiful is what it was. I finished 97th. But in a smallmouth place, you have 3 bass on one day of it. You can't really come back from it. I almost 20 pounds the second day, and still it was like, you're done, bro. Just go home. So
I thought he had put it in do not disturb, but we lost somewhat for connectivity on it. We're 20 minutes in though. We'll take a quick break and get LAKER and Randy back. It is BTL on a Tuesday. We have more videos. Wonder if they can hear me now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're back. You saved us from a commercial break. All right, continue on. We were just talking about how bad Champlain was.
Oh my goodness, Champlain was just awful. So I finished Champlain, and I had told him, like, soon as they swapped us, we weren't supposed to go to Wheeler at first. We were supposed to go
be Pickwick.
And I'm telling you, I'm glad we didn't go to Pickwick, because Pickwick is like my nemesis. That place is I'm gonna keep saying it until I beat it, man. I'm gonna keep saying it. So I told him as soon as they swapped it, what did I tell you?
He said, I'm gonna win Wheeler. I'm gonna win Wheeler. And he's told me that over and over. I'm gonna win Wheeler. I'm like, that's good. You do it. Do it.
I've been wanting to win Wheeler since before, like, it was like mid-season. I've been wanting to win Wheeler. So we get there. Because last year in November, I was throwing the same bait. I was throwing the junior version of the Walking Boss in that Toyota Championship. And I had, can't find a Walking Boss and Bone Cracker anywhere. No, they're sold out. So but yeah, last year in that Toyota Championship, I got third. I had 50 pounds and like 2-3 ounces, something like that, in 3 days throwing the Walking Boss Junior in that Toyota Championship in that exact same spot. And I did it all on top water right there. And that's when there was grass. So, pausing that bait. And that year, the sound is the only reason. I had probably 18 boats come through that area in 3 days that I was sharing it with. Mm-hmm. And I never left. I'd see one come up, they'd miss a shad or something, and you'd sit there and they'd stay in their little grass spot like a frogfish would, and you could just throw that Walking Boss at them. I threw the same cast 20 plus times at almost every fish I caught. I just keep throwing right at them, and they finally come up and get it. So this time I'm thinking, oh man, I'm gonna go back in there and do it again. I didn't know the grass was all torched. So I get back to that place, and there's no grass in the lake anywhere. And in practice, I only caught 1 2-pounder in there. So I'm thinking, this might not be good. This might not be good. I had like a terrible practice. Tournament rolls around. I get in there. There's one guy in there, and he did really good in the tournament too. But he was scoping the middle out there. There's a hole in there, and he was scoping. So I come in, and 9 o'clock. The only bass I did not catch on top water in that tournament was the very first one. The only reason I stayed in there, I'm going around and around and around, and by 9 o'clock, I ain't had a bite yet. I'm just trying to catch a limit in there, and I'm like, yeah. I'm cooked. I better get out of here and go find something else. And I get close to this little saddle that I had noticed last time I was in there that was shell in the middle of it where the point drops down. And fired my chatterbait over there. It's the only fish I caught on. I fired chatterbait over there. It lands. And I get like 4 knock the fire out of it. And then a big one hits it. And I catch a 4.9. And I'm like, oh. There might be something here. So I pick up the Walking Boss and I fire it in there. And as soon as it hits the water, a 4 1/4 just smokes it. I didn't even need to click it. Just, and it blew it up so loud, homeboy heard it. So, then he sees they're biting. So I caught 21.6, I think, that first day, in like an hour. I mean, it was like quick. So then I left, shouldn't have left. And we both had a big bag that day that was in there. And then day 2, I didn't leave the spot, and I would have left. I'm glad he was in there with me, because if I hadn't been playing defense, I would have left, and that 25 bag probably wouldn't have happened, because by the time I hit 23 pounds in there, I caught that by like 10 something. on that walking ball. So I got in there. I didn't even pick anything else up. I just started bombing it because I knew how big the big ones were that were eating it. And I get to like 13 pounds, and the camera boat's over there. Tucker Smith's the camera boat, of all people. It was so funny. Tucker Smith's over there, and he's got Chase, the camera guy, and they're both like this. They're just bored because I only got 13 pounds. I ain't had a bite in like an hour. And all of a sudden, a 6 even big fish at the tournament comes completely out of the water, head and tail, just smashes it.
Holy cow.
And when I got it in the boat, dude, I grabbed it, and the hook fell out of his mouth. It was hooked on the top of the head with the back treble hook, barely stuck. And Chase, the camera guy, I don't know if you saw the picture or not on Bass, but the hook in the top of his head was like skin hooked. And Chase yells over there at me, dude, I don't know how you landed that fish, because he was looking back at the picture he got. He was freaking them both out. So after all that, I sat there, camera boat leaves, it's like 11, and here we go.
Yeah, you can keep talking. I just thrown up. That's a video day today.
Yeah, so it's like a gosh.
Yeah.
That was that 5 pounder. That's the third day.
Oh my gosh.
That was the first bite I got 10 minutes in.
Oh, that's the worst when you know you have to belly land a triple treble hooked topwater fish. Oh, that was perfect too. It was on the top. You had the bottom lip there and everything. Like you could not have asked for a better hooked topwater fish. Because I'm assuming that's on braid too. So I mean, you have zero room for error on that.
Oh, dude, yeah. Man, I love that video.
When you reach for the pliers on a topwater, you know that you're throwing the right bait.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, continue with the story. I just wanted to throw a little visual in there.
Yeah, so I catch that 6, and I'm freaking out, and then, 5, I think they were moving through in little pods. I think pods of the same size fish were rolling through, because they would come off the river, roll through that little bar, feed up, and then they'd roll back out. I think is what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I wouldn't move for, 45 minutes at a time, and I'd finally get a bite. So I think after I caught that big one, like 15 minutes later, I catch a second one, almost the same size. It was a 560 something, I think. And when I got that one, it was barely hooked too, because he come out of the water like a dolphin. Scared the camera boat to death, scared me to death. And after I caught it, I had, 23, and I'm thinking, gosh, it's 11 o'clock. I could, save these fish. Well, I'm looking at the mouth. There's people that are looking at me the whole time, so I know they're going to come in if I leave. It's too early. And then, I nothing against anybody else that was in there, but, I don't want to leave. So I just sat there, power pole down. I just stayed there. And about 1 o'clock, I catch 2 4-somethings back to back, cull out both my low 3s.
Do you think there were just fish that were rolling through there, and then they wouldn't, and then the gizzards would get up there, and then the fish that were sitting either on the bottom or around it would be like, we can get these, and then they'd roll up and boom. Yeah. So it was just totally a timing deal.
It was totally timing. I think it was just random timing, because they would come through, because they weren't actually sitting in the saddle anymore after I'd caught so many over 3 days. I only got 5 bites on the final day. And if you notice, I don't know if you watch that other video, there's a second clip that Bass has. It's over the drone. So if you watch the drone footage, I didn't know this. This blew my mind watching this video. So if you watch it real close, you can see a 4-pounder right after I caught that 5. They had the drone up. I caught a 4. It was a 4.2, and it came up under the bait like for half the cast, and I was bombing it. It did it 4 times. So the fish would come up like he was going to get it, and he'd stop right here, and he'd flash, and he'd go down. And then he'd come back up, and he'd flash, and he'd go down. He did it 4 times.
Real fast.
Yeah, like real quick. It was just a quick flash under the bait, and finally smashes it. And I never knew he was there until he ate it, Yeah, so it's just crazy to see how far they follow it sometimes.
Did you have any flashbacks at 27 years ago, Randy, when you were watching LAKER?
Yeah, I'm telling you. So you know the story that I won my first major won that FLW tournament there in '98. Is that what you're talking about?
You did? No, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. No, the whole story. Yeah, I won my first major tournament that got me out of debt and got me over the hump when I was 24 years old. He's 24. Mm-hmm. And the funny story is he texted me at 10 o'clock the night before the tournament started, him and Andrew Banky, his roommate.
My God, we don't have the weigh-in for that pulled up, do we?
Oh my God,
There it is.
there it
Keep
is.
going.
So he texted me. He said, "Hey, I'm watching your old FLW that you won on Wheeler. You remember how old you were?" And I said, "Yeah, I was 24." He said, "That's right. I'm 24 too." He said, "I'm gonna win this one for you tomorrow. We're gonna both win one at 24 on Lake Wheeler." I'm like, "Oh, that would be so cool." And then darn if he didn't do it.
That was on the night before the first day.
There it is.
Yeah.
So we've got, this is horrible audio on this, but I didn't realize that you just crushed Rick Clunn's hopes and dreams in that tournament, Randy.
I beat Rick Clun by 1 ounce, and I stopped at the check-in boat with 4 bass and caught my 5th one on my last cast and barely made it in 30 seconds and won by 1 ounce.
Look how crazy this weigh-in was. We watched this video through
I
and
still
through.
remember I needed 9 pounds, 9 ounces to tie, 9 pound 10 ounces to win, and I had 9 pound 10 ounces. I can still remember it.
They weighed 1 to 2 fish at a time, and then once
Yeah.
they passed the other person, they'd walk off and like wait over there with their blue trash.
Oh yeah. Oh, they've done water weigh-ins, 1 fish at a time weigh-ins, round robin weigh-ins. FLW tried everything.
Yeah.
Here it is.
And that's Tommy Sanders in that green shirt. It's on Bassmaster.
Yeah.
Mark Zona did a thing on there last week. I collabed with him on Bass Nation, and they showed that.
Okay. They did show it. I didn't know. Be honest, I don't watch really like any other podcasts because I do one every day.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
That's
There it is.
And I remember that's where I became real good friends with Rick Clun. That was the craziest thing. I respect him so much because he put his arm around me before we went up on the stage. Before we got up there, he said, he's like E.F. Hutton when he speaks, everybody listens. Remember that little commercial from the old days? And he said, I know how big a deal it is to win a first tournament. He said, and he said the human side of me wants to win. But the competitor in me wants to win, but the human side wants to see you win because I know how big a deal it is. And he said all that before we got up there. And I thought, well, he's so nice, but he's also knowing he's getting ready to beat me. I'm sure he's thinking he's about to win. So then I get up there and win by 1 ounce. And he even said on stage, he said, it's a paradox. I still remember that. It's probably the first time I ever heard that word, paradox. He said it's a paradox. He said he told that. He said, so anyway, man, we became real good, close friends over the years after that. And I respected him so much and still do today. And now he's working with us on Livingston Lures too, which is pretty ironic.
Huh. But it's just cool to watch it like on Wheeler that many years later to see.
I know. Yeah. And I told LAKER the greatest thing ever. We roll I-65 north and south a lot. When you cross that bridge, I looked across that bridge on I-65, Lake Wheeler, Tennessee River, and I always remember how that was the place that made it, where I finally made it and finally got over the hump. And I know I was going to be a professional angler. I succeeded to get out of debt, basically at the time at 24 years old. And then I actually moved to Alabama 3 months after that from North Carolina. So now when LAKER runs over that bridge, he'll always have that memory. It'll never go away. Just like when.
Should come back here in a second. I don't know why. You're back. Sorry about that.
What was the last thing you heard him say?
That you're going over the bridge and you'll have that memory.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Interesting. LAKER, I'm curious, Randy, it took you a long time to get your first BASS win. You had this win here. LAKER, you've been fishing in this for a while too, but both of you, I'd be interested in hearing both of your takes. What have you learned about what it takes to win at the top at this level? Because I think that's something that a lot of anglers struggle with. And then it does seem like when you win, like you've won 2 out of your last 3. Randy, you've got that. You've won a classic. You've won a big events though. We'll start with LAKER. What have you learned about what it takes to win?
Well, I don't know if anybody really, like the people that don't really follow me along intently, I have literally spent every dime I've got just getting in as many tournaments as possible across the country. Like literally this year, by the time it's all said and done, I will have been after Okeechobee, I will have been in 22 national level events across the country. Whether that's MLF, Bassmaster, Ultimate Angler at Guntersville, any of them. I've been in everything. Last year I was in 21. Year before that I was in 19. So, in the last 3 years I've fished over 60 events across the country, just trying my best. Because after the first 2 years of doing it, I realized how hard it was to do good at this, especially when I started, really paying attention to Dad and all the other pros that were really just killing it. And I was like, okay, there's something I'm missing, and it's got to be tournament experience, because when I go fun fishing, I can catch the crap out of them. But when you get in a tournament, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I really started fishing every event I could, because I feel like if you want to be a good tournament angler, you go fish more tournaments. So I just went full on with that. So I think it takes, I was playing the game of averages. I fished 60 events and I finally won 2 of them, so that average
1 out of 30 is pretty good.
Yeah, 1 out of 30 is pretty good. So, that's the game I've been trying to play with it. And I just feel like, I don't know, the thing I've learned the most is that you don't think you can do it until you actually do. Like, everybody shows up to a tournament wanting to win. Obviously, if you don't think you can win,
We'll be back here in a second.
Wi-Fi.
You're back. It
this
just
Wi-Fi, man.
recycles.
Yeah.
You're all good. Yeah, you said everyone shows up wanting to win.
Everyone shows up wanting to win a tournament, but if you don't think you can win, don't show up. That's the whole point of being in tournaments. But you don't really think you can do it. It doesn't really grasp in your mind, I can do this, until you actually finally do it the first time. And that's like Leech Lake. I mean, we talked about it last time I was on the show. That one just kind of snuck up on me. I really didn't think I could win that one. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm holding a trophy. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? I finally won a tournament. And then, Champlain happened. I'm like, well, here we go again. I'm back in the hole. And then Wheeler were right back up on top. So highs and lows. I think it's a matter of a mindset. Because when I got to Wheeler, I remember watching him on that video. He had 2 bass on the final day, and he was on the live thing. He's talking in his little earpiece, because FOW had them earpieces. And I remember him doing this speech on the boat, talking about how bad he wanted to win and stuff. And the very last thing he said was, I want to win bad. I'm going to win. And that was the last thing. And you don't really that's a mindset, I feel like, because when I got to Wheeler and I got on the 3rd day, I remember thinking that. I thought back to him saying that, and I was like, I get it now. Like, that's what it takes to win. You got to have a different mindset. If you're not literally out for blood in the tournament, if you're just thinking, man, it'd be cool to get a top 10 here, you're going to finish top 10. If you're really thinking, I'm going to win and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, that's I think what it takes.
Yeah, confidence is I say confidence. You've done it a long time, and you've done every interview with every great angler in the country for years, Matt. So you probably got a lot better grasp on understanding the mental side of fishing, why Wheeler wins so much, and why there's certain guys. It's a confidence. And like Van Dam was always one of the greatest ever. He won so many tournaments, and it's a borderline, but you can't. You don't, and some of the greats in other sports, sometimes the greatest become sometimes arrogant or cocky, because they got to make themselves believe that they are the greatest and tell themselves they're the best. They can win, they can beat everybody. And fishing is hard because you can't control it. And it's so many variables. But man, the mental side is so big. And once he won that tournament that snuck up on him, I think he all of a sudden believed that I can do it. And then he focused and started believing he can do it. And then all of a sudden, I remember at times when I won 2 opens myself. So it's funny. I didn't even think of it. We both won 2 opens. So I won a James River, Virginia in 2013. And before that, Lake Oneida, Boyd Duckett beat me by 6 ounces in 2012. And that was the one that where I almost won an elite, and I blew it. I led all 3 days, and the last day I only had 4 fish and lost by 6 ounces. And
that was a
the
top
biggest-
water deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was top water too. Believe
Yeah,
it or
you're
not.
throwing a popper on the rock piles and the reef out there in front of Oneida Shores.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's where I believed all of a sudden it hit me, and I believed that I could win because I knew how I let it slip through my fingers and I could win. And then I go right out there, right after that, I win the James River in Virginia. And then I come right here and win the Classic. And then the next year I go back to Oneida and win the Northern Open in 2015. And I got on this little run for like 3-4 years straight where all of a sudden I believed so strongly. I didn't think about anybody else. I didn't think about how good anybody else was or why they were better than me or why they were going to win. I just blocked everybody out, and I just floated around like this is my deal. I'm just going to win. And I don't know how to get back there. That's the hardest thing. You come and go in the ebbs and flows with the sport, and some of the greatest to do it have had lows and highs, but everybody, mostly it's a lot of emotional roller coaster up and down. And so it is a confidence and a momentum thing. And that's why when you get on that flow, just like Tucker Smith, you see Tucker, how hot Tucker's become here this last couple of years. And it's just something you can't explain or describe, but you just got to work to try to achieve it every day you go out there.
Yeah, he's kind of scary though. I may have a feeling that it's not an ebb and flow with Tucker. I have a feeling it's more of like Mississippi River flow for the next 30 years with him. It's just my gut feeling there.
Yeah,
but
you get people like that. You got Van Dam was that in that generation. Yeah. Wheeler's been that in this generation, and now you got Trey McKinney like that, and you got Drew Gill and quite a few like that are doing it, and Tucker too.
I'm looking at this. Yeah, that 2000, you had that second place in Syracuse, and that kind of closed out 2012. Then here's a 7th, an 11th, a first, an 8th, another first, and that was all within the next 12 months for you in that end of 12 and through 2013 season. And that was kind of along that same time. I feel like Brent Chapman kind of caught fire too. That was when he had the was it the vegetables wrap, or he had some sort of organic pet food wrap?
Yeah,
but
right.
he had that like 1.5-year stretch where he won the Angler of the Year, and it was like he would go out and just the wildest stuff would happen every tournament, and he'd just be like, "Yeah, well, there you go. That's what happens to me. I catch him on a spoon when I'm burning it in."
And we were but real best friends.
Yeah.
We were partners, shared information, and traveled there. And that time, our kids were in campers together, homeschooling on the road. And Brent and me both got on a run, and I think I fed him, I think, more confidence, and all of a sudden, because I got on that run. And then he got on a run, and he kind of fed me confidence, and we both did really good there for a while. And then, man, but that's the thing. If you could just ever figure out how to stay there, it's so hard to stay there when you get more responsibilities, more life happens, and then all of a sudden you don't fish as much. And I feel like fishing more is the biggest key to having that success, because that success breeds the confidence, then confidence breeds success.
Would you say, Randy, that's I've heard so many professional anglers say the most impressive thing, and you've experienced that with the Classic win, with your sponsors, with the non-endemics, with everything you do off the water. The most impressive thing that everyone says about Van Dam during that incredible decade-long run was how many responsibilities he had off the water and it did not impact his performance on the water.
Yeah, it was. That's why I say he was the GOAT, the greatest of all times, all those years, because he blew everybody's mind for the longest time. He really did. And nobody's even done anything like that until Wheeler's come along, and Wheeler's kind of done the same kind of thing. Wheeler's got the biggest following, the most YouTube, the most sponsors, and that was Mosquito. And he's got all the responsibility, but Wheeler still dominates and strategizes, and he blows my mind how great he is. And now we're having more young anglers coming along that are starting to fall into that same pattern, and hopefully LAKER will be one of them, because he's already got a good run going right now. So that's why I say you just got to keep that. You just got to keep that confidence and that belief, and keep working hard, and keep trying to fish a lot, and not let all the other distractions pull you away. And you just got to have a faith and believe that God's in control, and He's going to bless you and take care of you as long as you're faithful to do what you need to do every day.
So you're not fishing the team series, right, Randy? Like the Bassmaster Team Series, because I think that's like the last opening to get into the Knoxville Classic that's coming up.
Oh no. And
okay, so you're out on that. That was kind of a joke because that's like a lot of Bass Nation style stuff. And then you don't have a chance to get in through the last EQ at Okeechobee. So you will be in the stands in Knoxville, Tennessee, watching LAKER on the Classic stage. That's got to be a weird dynamic.
It's going to be so weird.
It's so cool. I wanted to fish the EQs to try to get in. I could have got in them, but man, our King's Home Boat giveaway event, we had it scheduled all year, and it is dead on the Okeechobee event. So there's no way I could do it. And because you got to fish all three if you win to make the Classic. So I didn't. So it basically just fell into place where, I even said yesterday, I really wanted to be in it with him. That would have been the coolest Cinderella story ever. But we'll have our time later. But this year, next year I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna work the show. Then I'm gonna run in there and I'm gonna watch him and soak it in and just pray. It'd be so awesome if he could win and get that Classic trophy. And nobody since Dion and Guido Hibden, and most of the kids don't even know who that is anymore. We're the only ones to win it, the father and son. So it would be really cool. I'm gonna really enjoy. I'll be crying every day. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Your perspective of that, LAKER? I mean, you've been in the stands for so many Bassmaster Classic and championship events. Now it's going to be totally reversed.
Dude, I don't even know.
The poster got in the garage.
He's got this poster. I mean, it's huge. It's like this. It's like half the size of a garage door. It's this big, tarp style poster he's got hanging up in the other garage before we built this place.
It's a picture somebody made and
it's the picture of going around the arena. I'm up there, with my terrible haircut. Thank the Lord I grew it out. I'm up there with my terrible haircut, holding the flag on the back of the deck. My mom's sitting there crying, and he's holding the trophy. My brother is up on his, I don't know what he was.
They're just sitting there looking at the crowd.
He was just like starstruck. So we see that picture. And I told him the other day, I said, man, it'd be crazy if I won the Classic in 2026 and we recreate that picture. I said, this time you're holding the flag.
Yeah, I'm going to be holding the flag. And Maddie, his wife, will hold the flowers. And then he'll be down there with the trophy. And I'm going to do the flag up there.
We're going to have the brother on the front reenact.
Yeah, it'll be like Step Brothers movie. We'll both be sitting there like that. So.
That's fantastic.
No, but I don't know, man. The thought of, I don't even know really what to do with the whole Classic situation, man. In my mind, it's going to be a big mental tournament, because I've talked to a couple of my buddies that have been in it, like recently, and they were telling me how crazy it is. I didn't know this. I've worked the show and I've been to all the ones with Dad and everything else, and I hadn't only missed a Classic here in I can't even remember the last Classic I missed to go to, but I didn't know it was 10 days for the anglers. Like, you get there night before practice starts, and then you got 3 days of practice, but then you got just 4 days in between of like random stuff, like
another practice day, then a media day, then you get to the tournament.
You get media, all this other stuff. Then you have a run through the day before the tournament where you go out for 8 hours with your marshal, they call your number out, all that kind of stuff, and you blast off. You go practice for 8 hours and you come back, and then you got to get dressed and go right to the champions dinner or whatever it is the night before the tournament, and you don't get no sleep is what everybody's told me. You don't get no sleep night before the Classic, and then you
won't be able to sleep anyway.
No,
I mean, you know all this. You've like lived. Oh, I guess you've been like a kid. Like you were literally like a kid then when this happened. So you weren't like you weren't like taking it in as like, oh, let me learn from this. You were just like, okay, where are we going next?
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool, we're at the Classic. I'm going to get one of those little collective pins,
Yeah.
God, that haircut was awful. Why did you do that to us?
LAKER, I would be careful talking about haircuts right now. Who you're sitting next to.
That's right, man. That's right. We didn't have time to have long hair back in them days. That's what little kids look like back in the whatever year that was, 2014. Everybody had short hair.
There it is, right there. Yeah, that's wild to think that it's been that many years. Yeah, you guys have. Do you have Elon's internet?
Shoot, no.
I don't know what that one. That's the one that works the best. We don't have that one.
Starlink?
He's got that at home. That one works good, right?
Yeah, this is that Spectrum. This is
I had that happen to mine. You have what you have is you have noise in the line right now. So if you find it, you could actually call them, and what it's doing is it's actually sending pulses of data instead of a steady flow of data, which is why it regroups, which is trying to connect itself. I would imagine you're probably at the end of the line on your cable. So as a guy who does a podcast and a show every day, I've had to deal with a lot of
dude, I'm a nerd. That was some next level nerd stuff right there. I didn't know you knew that.
I'm literally just repeating why they told me they couldn't fix it immediately.
Yeah.
So all right, well, that is a cool story. That might be one of the coolest stories of the 2025 season. Definitely one that I think you guys are going to remember for a very long time as a family. And it's cool that you're all kind of in the same area. I would imagine Laker, you're sitting next to your dad there. I've known Randy, well, since I came into it in 2007. I mean, you saw some of all that stuff. We talked a little bit about this. I think the most difficult thing, regardless of what sport it is, whether you're a son who's a college football coach and your dad was a coach, or whether you're a ball player and your dad was a ball player, but an angler and another angler, we talked about that in the last BTL that you were on, is kind of finding your own path and working hard. And I don't think there's anybody that has followed your career, and I think your dad would agree to this, as far as you've I have to make sure I say this correctly. You have hoed your own row. Is that correct?
Yeah. Paid your dues. That's the hoed your own row.
And it seems like it's something that you kind of did intentionally.
Yeah. I've definitely. It's all God, 100%. I will say, because I don't care how many tournaments I'm in my life. I don't care how many I ever win. I mean, it's a huge bonus and accomplishment, and just dream come true to win one. But my goodness, I mean, you can't take the trophies with you, and it's all him, because there ain't no reason that a kid that I'm a perfect example of someone that just loves fishing. So if anybody watching this, young, old, it doesn't matter your age. The bass don't know how old you are on the other end of the line, man. I mean, you get out there and you just fish your heart out and you put your time in. Anybody can do what we're doing, man. So I mean, it's literally the Southern redneck American dream. I mean, you want to be a bass fisherman, you want to put a wrap on your boat. You've seen a bunch of wrap boats. I mean, there's a ton of people these days that have the same dream as us, and all it takes is just you got to have no plan B, and you got to trust the Lord. I mean, that's the perfect sauce to it right there.
That's your high school speech.
That's my high school speech, man.
No plan
Get
B.
out there and just do it. Yes, I'm fired up.
That's it. And
I remember when one of the Forest Wood Cups, Byron Velvet came out and told kids to quit school and chase their dreams, and everybody just kind of looked at each other and went, "Did he really just say that out loud?"
Yeah.
I do have one more question. Who has a faster boat? Like Guntersville, light chop on the water, trimmed out, no one else on the water. Randy and LAKER from a dead stop. You got 8 miles to really get it wound up and strung out. Who's winning that race?
It's a sore spot.
Oh, this burns him up to hear that question right now, because I finally got a faster boat than him. I finally got
Yeah, I changed to Yamaha this year, which gave me a really strong motor. But when I did that, I couldn't run a Yamaha on a Triton anymore. So the White River group moved me to the Ranger, and it's the 21-foot, the great big Ranger. So it's the great big.
Well, you're getting to that age. You're getting to the old man boat, Randy.
Nope, edit that out right there.
Nope, leave that in.
We're not doing that.
I mean, we were just talking about a win from 28 years ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut out parts of my boat just to give it a little lighter, like they do in those Rangers. They say this Ranger won't sink. They cut the holes out. I'm gonna cut one out to make it run faster. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take.
You'll have that butt seat up front, and you'll try to take it out, and you'll be like, "Holy cow, this thing's been up front so long, it's kind of welded into the front."
No, I don't have no butt seat up there. I don't have no seats, man. I do everything I can. I even went through lab finished props. I got a 4-blade special prop on there. I've got probably the fastest big Ranger is out here. I was running 66 2-man loaded the other day with that thing, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's slow. No, that's strong. It's I will give Randy credit for this. That's like comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah.
Different vessels, different hulls, different boats. I just remember for the longest time you were obsessed with getting 0.2 of a mile out of it.
Yeah, I still am, and
He's
it's
talking-
in my blood. I have a hard time with it right now. So
Do you care about that, Laker? Are you like that? Are you constantly tweaking props and adjusting and figuring out? Really?
I get
So
it
that
from him,
gene
man.
got passed on.
Yeah,
I've done some. I won't ever. I've done some hood rat stuff to some boats to make them go faster.
Yeah, if he would just quit. If he would just quit running into stuff and messing his good props up every week, he would be all right. That's his problem.
You stay out in the middle and scope, Laker. You don't ever hit anything.
I know. See,
You need to
them
quit
guys lower
getting up
units.
there and quit getting up there where they eat a topwater and a frog and a flip.
Yeah,
Stay out in the middle and troll
stay out in
around.
the middle and watch my screen, man. I need to get it. Look, I've got the hair already to put in a ponytail and then get a flat bill. And then I need a pair of those Converse shoes, and then that's the Scoper starter pack. I won't ever mess up my boat.
You like when you talk about doing crazy stuff to it, like, I mean, I rolled with Harold Allen for 6 years on the water, and he was talking about how the first thing he would do when he'd get his new Skeeter with the 150 on it is they'd take it off the trailer, prop it up, and sand the bottom with a power sander to make it faster. He's like, now it makes it a little squirrely. He's like, but you're not talking about doing that type. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Randy?
Harold Allen was me and Harold. I was the young guy, and he was in his prime, probably in his 40s, maybe when I was in my 20s, I would think. And man, he was hardcore. He hated when I would pass him. He wanted to beat everybody, and that's the same way I was. And but Harold would sand that hook out of the bottom of that Skeeter back in the day. It was the hook in the pad, and it would just make it. It would give it some speed. And they used to do it on Rangers too. I remember Biffle and Brower and those guys used to do it on their Rangers back in the old days too.
So if he starts going faster, just know.
He's sanding the Ranger.
He's sanding the
Ranger anymore. I remember one time. So Harold would get, he'd get the new boaters on with Skeeter because we were covering. Randy, Ed, I think you were actually the first guy that I ever covered live with Bass Zone on the water. Bull Shoals, that tournament when you could only keep like 2 smallmouth over 18 inches. You called your shot on a riprap stretch. We were on live. I had the tough book opened up. We were on live, and you said, catch one on this cast. You were throwing a crankbait, and if I remember, there was a pipe or something that was going down in the water, and you said, I should catch one right here. I'm calling my shot. And you caught one. I think that was the first bass that was ever caught on Bass Zone's live cover. Back then, and it didn't exist. You had the midday update, and that was it on Bass Zone's live coverage from Bull Shoals. But
I vaguely remember that a little bit. I remember a little bit about it, but I didn't realize that was the first one ever caught on live. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was one of the early ones I remember. And then, so Harold, one of the years we were out there, literally went to every single, he thought he got a little bit slower boat than he should have that year. So he went to every single Skeeter team member, Todd Faircloth and Rojas, all the guys that were Skeeter. And he asked, what is your top speed strung out? And then he averaged all those numbers together in between Jack and Waters. And he came to the conclusion that his boat was a full mile an hour slower than it should have been. And he spent all of that year trying to get that extra mile out of the boat so he was back up to where he thought he should be.
Yeah, I remember his days. I heard all about that. He was hardcore about speed too, and I probably wasn't that bad, but I'm pretty bad.
You were pretty bad, dude. But you also had, for a while there, didn't you run a prop wrap and your title sponsor was Fury and all that? So, you were kind of obligated to be dialed in.
Yeah, Fury, when they launched the Fury prop line, it was like 2010. That was the fastest Triton I ever had. That's the one that the YouTube video is outrunning Dean Rojas in the classic where I passed him, and then I got the music playing and the helicopters videoing us going down the river. And that day I actually saw him coming, and I turned around and ran back just to pass him, because I saw the helicopter there. I wasn't even going there to go fishing. I turned back around and went back to the river. But that boat would run 81 miles an hour, man. 2 people in would run 80.
He was about that life, dude. He was about it, man. He said, this is a race.
I would run past my spot sometimes just to pass people, and I'd turn around and come back.
Just because it was feeling perfect. What is the best conditions to run the fastest? Like, obviously down current, but I'm talking about like water wise, what weather, temperature, like what are you looking for to get like this is as fast as my boat will ever get in a neutral setting?
You gotta have that good little chop. If you can have about a 10-mile-an-hour chop at your back and run with the wind, that's the best. That's the best of all. If you don't have current in a river, then of course, if you have current in a river, I still remember fishing, being at the Buffalo, New York, on the Niagara Falls River and running toward Niagara Falls in that swift water. My boat would run at 85 miles an hour in that current, and I loved that river so much. I just wanted to keep turning around and going back because I could see my GPS go 84, 85. It was unbelievable.
Who's
chop at the back.
Who's the fastest and cold weather? Like you want crisp in the air, right? I've always heard you don't want it hot and muggy.
That's right. You want cool, crisp air. You want a little breeze at your back, and that's the best ideal conditions right there.
Who's the fastest opens guy, Laker?
Oh goodness, there's a couple of bass cats that are just ridiculous.
Besides Teb. Teb's in the Allison.
Yeah, he don't count. That don't count, dude. That really don't count. You don't count.
And bass cats fly, though. They do.
Yeah.
A lot of them fly.
I know. God, what's his dang name? So my roommate, Andrew Banky, his boat last year would run 81. And I mean, he would smoke me. I remember at Okeechobee.
Not this year. He put on too much mass.
Yeah, he's done gotten too big now.
He's taking too much protein powder. That added weight slowed him down to 79.9.
Yeah, he's done a 7. His boat would go that fast. There was a couple other ones I know that would go, low 80s last year. I think there's 1 or 2 this year because I mean, gosh,
it just doesn't seem like it's as big as a thing as it used to be on the Elite Series. Like it used to be like, I mean, granted, you were coming on the tails of the of that. Was it the E50 or the World Championship deal where you guys did the boat races and all that? So like there was an emphasis on speed for that event, but it doesn't. I just remember guys always on props and talking about who's the fastest, and the guys with the slow boats would be like, never seen a bass get caught at 75, and then the guys with the fast boats are like, I got 3 before you even shut down, son.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it's that anymore, Laker.
No, I don't really think it is. I mean, nobody's doing. I mean, I was going to tell a story while he was talking too. I remember when I was younger, I'd watch him. He used to be so obsessed with going fast, dude. He would literally. This was some of the stories I've heard too are just crazy. The stuff he would do to go fast. Like he would take all of his tackle out of his boat, right? Because if he was dialed into one thing, he'd take all his tackle out of his boat, and then he would calculate out. And I don't know how you ever did this because I tried this and I about ran out of gas one time. He would calculate out the amount of gas he would need for the places he was going to go in the day. So he would like leave half a tank in his boat for a tournament day and just be like, shoot, if I want to go somewhere else, I ain't going to go because I just want to go faster. Like he would literally time out his gas.
And now electronics have killed us on the nose of the boat. So we got so many graphs from scoping up there now. You got a 100-pound. You found
now. I know this is old. Don't get upset, Yamaha. This is old, but I had to show this. So there's the gander boat of Deed Rojas.
Look at him running him down.
And there's Randy. Here
he
comes.
Him down.
I still got the goosebumps watching this right now.
Look at this.
That was the best feeling ever.
Randy's over there waving. Hey.
Rojas got mad at me about that too.
Look at him.
It did, and because he had a fast Yamaha scooter that was running good.
Look at your boat walking. You didn't even care. You were like, "I will wreck this thing before I die."
It up by then.
Look at the graphics back then.
I know speed mattered though. I mean, I'm telling you, I've had so many tournaments that I've gotten somewhere first. If you can get somewhere first,
that's cold weather, 10-mile-an-hour chop behind you. You got out in front and just let it.
Yeah. That was eating. I was running 81 right there when I did that. I still remember that. But I
might have just lost my guided red ear trip by showing that, but it's okay.
Pickwick Wilson. I locked through, and we had to race to get to that Wilson Wheeler Dam in the open. I finished second again to Boyd Duckett. Only 2 times I've ever finished second. Boyd Duckett won both. That was crazy. So I leave that lock, and I took every bit of tackle out, had all the gas out because everybody was trying to get to the tail race water in that one spillway, and I had everything out of my Triton, and we come out of there, and there was all kinds of boats trying to race it there, and you got a 15-mile run to get there, and I outrun everybody there and got there every day and almost won that tournament. Would have won the tournament. It wasn't for, God rest his soul, my buddy Dave Smith that's not around anymore. Dave got up there and was bumping boats with me, and Dave was wanting to catch fish so bad I let him throw in there and catch a couple, and then I lost by a few ounces, and I lost a ducket in that one. But that was a boat race deal.
Big Dave is still with us a little bit in spirit. If you turn that trophy over, both of the trophies that you've won this year, Laker, you'll see MTM recognition on the bottom, and that's Big Dave's company right here out of Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
so.
He was our buddy.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, I got to fish his private lake with Jared Miller one time.
Oh, God, I always wanted to do that. I always
everything you could imagine. Like, we got on the lake, and there's some like timber and grass, and I asked Miller, I'm like, all right, what are we doing? And he's like, casting. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the pattern is casting. Like, if you hit water, you're good. And I mean, he was dead on. He was dead on right. Like, we put the boat in. Big Dave had he had two completely rigged out Rangers. He had a Jeep that had 7 miles on it, that had a front tow hitch on the front of it so you could drive it down. I mean, he had $200,000+ setups, all DC Shimano's, the whole 9 yards. You'd get out on this lake, and the average fish, regardless of what, was probably 6.5 pounds.
Oh gosh, I never got to fish there. I always wanted to. He used to tell me I could come, but I never took the time to do it.
Never take that chance.
I don't know. I
never
did.
Yeah, we're talking about Dave Smith. He fished the Elite Series, fished professionally for 30 years, FLW Tour, the whole 9 yards. He's like 6'9". He's in like the Oklahoma Basketball Hall of Fame, I believe, or his hometown Hall of Fame. Yeah. Really good dude, but also a billionaire with a B. And started MTM recognition, had all sorts of factories and plants. You would never know it, though. He would always, whenever you'd see him, you'd be like, "What's up, Big Dave?" And he would go. Now he'd always. I don't know what that means is up to interpretation, but that was Big Dave's welcome. Big Dave's greetings. So.
Yeah.
All right. I said 45 minutes. We're an hour in. I'm going to let you guys go. I greatly appreciate the time, and you guys keep cashing $100,000 checks and winning trophies. I'll keep having you on BTO.
Sounds good.
I appreciate you having us on there, man. It's always fun, man. You keep up the good work. We'll see you on the water.
Sounds good. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Laker and Randy Howell. We'll take a break. When we come back, wrap things up on a Tuesday here. Bass Talk Live, October 14th.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast. It's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
Hey guys, Brian Schmidt here with Spro. I'm going to talk to you about the confidence I have in the equipment I use. You know, I have a charter boat business back home in Maryland. We fish for saltwater fish, and I also fish the Bassmasters Elite Series. So I keep my lights on by fishing. I have to have a lot of confidence in the equipment I use. Spro has me covered from head to toe, saltwater, freshwater, everything in between. A lot of high-end quality product. Spro has you covered.
Pro Bass Adventures is reinventing Mexico bass fishing. With boats equipped with 12-inch Garmin units and LiveScope Plus, free loaner fishing rods, and no-cost airport transportation, Pro Bass Adventures is proudly putting you in the best position for success. Pro Bass Adventures has lodges on Lake Baccarat and Lake El Salto, Mexico's two best trophy largemouth bass lakes. Visit probassadventures.com or email probassadventures@gmail.com. the official Mexico fishing lodge of Bass Talk Live.
I fish in some of the worst elements across the country. Spring.
That's a giant, dude.
Summer.
Oh my gosh. Hi. Look at that thing.
Winter.
It's so cold.
And fall.
Got a big one. That's awesome. Being comfortable and staying dry is the only option.
AFCO. Any fish, any water.
All right, wrapping things up here, BTL, on a Tuesday. Stay tuned shortly after this. Will be a Best on Tour this week, where Dave Rush and I will break down everything that has happened both on and off the water in professional bass fishing. Big show on Thursday. We're doing a deep dive with the one and only Frank Scalish. And then following week, I'm getting married. So looking to record some shows there, but will not be live like probably next Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But then back with brand new episodes of Bass Talk Live to kick off November, the second week in November. And then Jody White from MLF, the Toyota Series Championship, is headed to Grand Lake the second week in November. Following that, I think Jody's going to swing by. We're going to do some on the water stuff. He's going to be in studio, so we're going to have some in-studio guests to talk about that. And then, holy cow, we're already in the holiday season. So cannot thank both Laker and Randy Howell enough for jumping on Bass Talk Live today. Same time, same place tomorrow. We'll talk to everybody then. See ya.